It is absolutely out of control right now. Ladies and gentlemen, just to give everyone a little update, ESPN has officially upgraded my bracket to the 102nd percentile. I've never seen this before. It's unbelievable. ESPN is totally freaking out after what happened on Friday, me being the only person in history on video to correctly predict a 16 over a 1. It's all documented. It's all out there. Getting all the bonus points. My bracket now, after the games yesterday, it's been upgraded. You can see it right there, the 102nd percentile. So, I'm talking to people within ESPN. They're saying, you're glitching the bracket, the system. Our entire network is about to collapse due to the site traffic within, the overall system. This bracket is taking up so much power. This is how it was explained to me. My bracket, which is in the 102nd percentile, is taking up so much power within their database. It's causing major blackouts. We've got people that can't get on ESPN. It's crazy. They're saying, we're going to shut your bracket down. And I said, no, if you do that, you will be sued, because right now it looks like I will be winning around $3 million from this. So it's such great news. I can't believe it. We had Houston yesterday. Thankfully, Houston looked so good. We're going to recap all the games and then look forward. What's happening today? Can my bracket reach the 103rd percentile? Is that possible? And at what point does it crash the server at ESPN? That's something we'll have to watch too. The analytics bracket, it's taken on some water. It's in the 53rd percentile. The chalk bracket, believe it or not, there's two different chalk brackets I did. One of them's at 89 percentile, which is pretty good. The other's at 34. The coin flip bracket is taking on significant water. It's the equivalent of like the Titanic breaking in half. It's in the 11th percentile. Other brackets, 82nd percentile there with Houston winning. 82nd percentile, that's decent. We have 9th percentile. We have the 99th percentile here with Tennessee winning. Wow, Tennessee won yesterday. Maybe they can win the national title. They do have a really good defense. 96th percentile, 82nd, 96th. So there are some other ones. But once again, the lead story, my personal bracket that I filled out, where I picked Fairleigh Dickinson to upset Purdue. I got the Easter egg. I got the bonus points. And that's why it's in the 102nd percentile. Now, taking a look at the games from yesterday, I'm going to recap all those and then go through the matchups today and give my predictions. To kick off the day, yesterday we had San Diego State dispatching of Furman. And guys, I think this was a situation where Furman was kind of a week 13 seed. It's weird to say that because they did beat Virginia, but Virginia probably should have been a 7 or an 8 seed. They ran up their record in a weak ACC. All the analytics knew Virginia was a fraud. Furman was losing that entire game to Virginia. They come back on a lucky Hail Mary 3, and then they get smacked by San Diego State. And we know San Diego State has an elite defense. They totally controlled this game, and it really was just a mismatch. So San Diego State, congratulations to them. They're moving on to the Sweet 16. They've got a nice defense. How about another team? And guys, this is where I have to give the analytics credit. The analytics loved Tennessee. We were all noobs. We were all casuals. We all said, oh, the way Duke is playing, they're going to beat Tennessee. Look at how they closed the season. But the analytics, they like Tennessee, and Tennessee shows up, and they just completely swarm Duke. And if you're facing Tennessee, it gets scary if they're hitting 43% of their threes, combined with that good defense, combined with the 12 offensive rebounds, the 8 steals. It's very hard to beat a team like Tennessee because of how good they are defensively if they're also shooting the ball well. Listen, defense won them this game, and it was kind of a throwback type game, but they easily handle a young Duke team. 65-52. They were really in control of this game late in the first half. They kind of took it, and then the entire second half, Duke tried to make a few runs, but they were always up. It felt like 6 or 7 points, and then late they extended their lead. So really, you've got to say, good job by Tennessee, sticking to their guns, playing good defense, and handling Duke in that one. You've got the 8v1 upset, so Arkansas beats Kansas with Bill Self not on the sideline. A lot of us thought this was a potential. Arkansas was only 4-point underdogs in this game, and you got to think, for Arkansas, 3 of 15 from 3, but they still win, and the reason they won, 21 of 26 from the free throw line, 8 more offensive rebounds. That's what's going to win you games in March. If you're not making threes, you got to make your free throws. You got to get to the line, and you got to get extra possessions. Offensive rebounds are so important. Arkansas, they will be advancing to the Sweet 16. Kansas, I told people, don't pick Kansas. Repeat national champions never happen. Don't put Kansas in your Final Four. I know a lot of people that had Kansas in the Final Four winning it all. It was never a good play because repeat national champions, repeat Final Four teams, it's very rare. But I will say, in Kansas's defense, if Bill Self was there, it's a different story. I'll say that. Losing by 1 point, if Bill Self is there, they probably do win that game. But it is what it is. Arkansas, with the guard play, they are moving on, and they're going to be very dangerous in the Sweet 16 because if you think about it with Arkansas, they really haven't shot the ball all that well their first 2 games. And they've won both of them, and they easily beat Illinois, and they end up beating Kansas, shooting 3 of 15 from 3. Next game is, thank God for this one, right? We were a little bit concerned about Houston. They hold serve. Yes, this game was very ugly. Yes, Auburn basically threw it from the free throw line 53%. I mean, look at these free throws. It's just 36 free throws to 29, but Houston ends up winning it. Both teams shoot 31% from the three-point line. Houston, guys, this is why I picked Houston to win the national championship. They swarm you, and they have so much depth on offense. They just have so many quality players. This is a good win for Houston against an Auburn team who was playing a de facto home game. Trust in Houston. If you've been following college basketball, they've been the best team all year. They hold serve, they extend their lead in the second half, and they cruise to a semi-easy win as only 5-point favorites. Marcus Sasser, the injury concern, he looks to be okay. And Houston, they will be advancing on to the Sweet 16. So kind of a sigh of relief there. We thought maybe that's another 1 seed that could lose, but they do hold on. Princeton easily dispatches of Missouri. So this is what I said yesterday. I said Princeton was going to win as 7-point underdogs. Missouri was just a really weak 7 seed. And how angry do you have to be if you're Arizona? You had basically a free ride to the Sweet 16. All you had to do was beat Princeton. They don't do it. This game, I mean, both teams very similar. How about Princeton? 33 3-point attempts. I like that. I really do. Doubling them up on the offensive glass. Princeton is a true Cinderella, a 15 seed into the Sweet 16. We'll see if FDU can join them. I have my doubts, but, Princeton as a 15 seed into the Sweet 16, you got to like that. They win that game by 15 and really just completely controlled it from the start. Next, Texas holds off Penn State. So something really funny about this game, both of these teams, how about Texas? 1 of 13 from 3. You know how angry Colgate's got to be? Texas literally just shot 13 of 23, and now they go 1 of 13. Oh my God, 7%. But both of these teams, after having great shooting games, really, really bad. I mean, at least Texas was 50% from the field, so they made their twos. Offensive rebounds very similar, and steals, blocks, nothing big there. So really, this was a game where Texas was always up, but Penn State did make it really interesting towards the end, actually took the lead by a point. But Texas, the number 2 seed, holds serve. They advance onto the Sweet 16. Penn State, the 10 seed, will not get the big upset. They are out. you missed too many threes. It is what it is, 8 of 28 there. Next, UCLA beats Northwestern. So I did think this game was going to be a blowout. And I gotta say, for about the first 15 minutes, there was like 5 minutes left in the first half. UCLA was up by 13. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a 25-point win for UCLA. And you got to give Northwestern credit for making it interesting, for coming back. But UCLA, this is just kind of a mismatch to me. I thought Northwestern was a week 7 seed. They did win a game, but you're facing UCLA, who very easily could have been a 1 seed, and they win this game, and they were kind of in control throughout. They do only win by 5 points, and it is a little bit of a red flag. You take a look at those offensive rebounds I always like to look at, 14-3. I mean, only 3 offensive rebounds for UCLA. I know they shot 50% from the field, so there's less of a chance to get offensive rebounds, but you want to really pound the offensive glass. You want extra possessions, extra chances, extra shots. You're talking about a Northwestern team that had 15 more field goal attempts. A little bit of red flags coming in here for UCLA just looking at this, but they were in control of this game, and they end up winning it by 5. They're on to the Sweet 16. And then the nightcap, this game didn't start till like 10:20 or something. Alabama just thoroughly dominates completely overpowered Maryland team. They win by 22. Look at Maryland. You gotta have more than 8 3-point attempts. I'm sorry. Maryland also 57% from the free throw line. That's not going to get it done. But in reality, Maryland was a really weak 8 seed. West Virginia, to me, beats Maryland 7 out of 10 times, and they would at least put up a little bit more of a fight against Alabama. This game was never close from the outset. It is a little bit of a storyline. Brandon Miller struggling again. He's dealing with a groin injury. He went 5 of 17 from the field, I believe. So struggling there, but Alabama, they will move on, and that's our first Sweet 16 matchup we have official, by the way. It is going to be Alabama taking on San Diego State, 1 versus the 5 seed. That game happening in the South region in the Sweet 16, but this game was just not competitive. And I said the last 2 games, the UCLA game was going to be a blowout and the Alabama game was going to be a blowout. I went 1 for 2. The UCLA game ended up being close. But guys, let's give everyone a full preview for Sunday. These games are, this is the second day of the second round, so all of these are for the Sweet 16. The winner will advance to the Sweet 16. It is Pittsburgh taking on Xavier, and I do like Xavier to win this game. Pittsburgh coming from the first 4. I just can't support that. I'm sorry. I'll take Xavier. Even though Xavier, you want to talk about red flags. They were down by 13 points to Kennesaw State with like 17 minutes left in the second half. Xavier can certainly be beaten by Pittsburgh, but I'm going to go with Xavier there. You've got Kentucky and Kansas State. So this is kind of a similar situation to yesterday with Duke and Tennessee, where Duke was the higher seed, but they were favorites. Kentucky, the higher seed, the 6th seed, is 3-point favorites over Kansas State, and I do think Kentucky wins this game, but there's got to be great value on Kansas State plus the 3. I'll take Kentucky, though. Next, you've got Michigan State and Marquette. I'm very concerned for Marquette in this one. They're sitting only -2.5, but they've been the better team the entire year. Give me Marquette to win that game. Then you've got a 4v5 matchup, St. Mary's and UConn. That is a 6-10 game. UConn sitting -4. I love UConn. All the analytics love UConn. A lot of people love, it seems like so many of us have UConn in the Final Four. St. Mary's, they're a team that I picked over VCU. A lot of people were picking VCU to win that game, but St. Mary's is a very balanced team. The problem is they're a little bit inefficient on offense. They like to play at a slower pace. I will take UConn to win that game and cover the 4-point spread. Creighton and Baylor, the 7-10 game, virtually a pick'em. Flip a coin. Both of these teams are really inconsistent either way. I would probably slightly lean towards Creighton. Then you've got Fairleigh Dickinson taking on FAU. FAU sitting -15.5. Isn't that great? You've got a 9 seed trying to make it to the Sweet 16, and they're 15.5-point favorites, and the BPI gives them a 96% chance to beat Fairleigh Dickinson. If you actually take a look at the spread analytically, FAU is around 22-point favorites in this game over Fairleigh Dickinson. I'm sure we're all rooting for Fairleigh Dickinson. That's going to be fun for sure. And then you have Miami and Indiana. Indiana sitting 2-point favorites. That's really another coin flip type game. I lean towards Indiana because Miami's really bad defensively, and Miami should have lost to Drake. Drake completely threw that game. They were up by 7 with 5 minutes left, and they completely choked it. And then the nightcap, the 9:40 game, it's TCU and Gonzaga. And you've just got to love Gonzaga here, -4.5. They're overwhelming on offense. They've got the best offense in college basketball. So that is my official preview for Sunday's games. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.